Good afternoon, I'm Vashan Brown with the Midday News. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. I remind as well that you can watch TVJ live by downloading our One Spot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1, followed by the words Spot Media. The children who were found dead at their home in Pleasant Valley, Clarendon yesterday afternoon have been identified. They are 9-year-old Tamara Sewell and 3-year-old Olivia Daly. They attended the Pleasant Valley Primary and Infant School. Their mother, Amanda Johnson, in recounting what happened, said Tamara was sent by a relative to a nearby shop to purchase bag juice. She said shortly after, she left the girls at home to pick up her son at another location. While there, she got the distressing news. The girls were found in the house frothing at the mouth. Miss Johnson said she could not recall what the children had consumed before she left the house. An autopsy is to be conducted. Still in Clarendon, the police are investigating the shooting of a man and a woman in the parish on Wednesday. TVJ News understands that the two were sitting in a Nissan Tida motor car having a discussion on Grantham Avenue in Maypen when men on a motorcycle drove up and fired shots in their direction. Both persons were shot. They were taken to the hospital where they are said to be in serious condition. No motive has been established for the shooting. After 5 days of sick-out by rank-and-file members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, there is still no word from the Police Federation whether its members have decided to end or escalate their mass sick-out action to protest against the government's 6% wage offer. The Central Executive of the Federation met yesterday to discuss its next move following the failure of the government to respond to its request for a meeting with the Prime Minister. The Federation wrote to the Prime Minister last week after wage talks collapsed with the Finance Ministry. There are now reports that more than 6,000 rank-and-file members are now off the job as part of the mass sick-out to press the government for increased wages. Deputy Commissioner in charge of Strategic Operations Clifford Blake admitted that the force is stretched as a result of the sick-out.
Yes, I can confirm that a significant number of our members are still off the job at this time. It has certainly affected our operations right across the island, but I want to commend the members who have remained loyal to their oath of office and have continued to serve the public under very difficult and trying circumstances. I want to send a special commendation to them. So there's no doubt that they have had to work significantly extended hours, but I say they are doing so with great spirit, and I really want to commend them.
Meanwhile, the Central Executive of the Police Federation has again written to Prime Minister Andrew Holness seeking his intervention in the ongoing wage negotiations. In the letter, the Federation stressed the urgent need for the meeting. The Federation has rejected both offers by the government of a 3% increase in year 1 and a 3% in year 2, as well as the reconstructed offer of 4% in year 1 and a 2% in year 2. The National Security Ministry is now awaiting a report from its experts to determine the corrective measures to be undertaken to fix a major sewage problem affecting the St. Catherine Adult Correctional Center. In September, Commissioner of Corrections Ina Hunter was subpoenaed to appear before the St. Catherine Parish Court to answer a charge of violating the Public Health Act. The charges were brought against Mrs. Hunter after the Public Health Department accused her of failing to address the long-standing problem of sewage flowing from the institution onto Barrett Lane and the surrounding streets. The attorneys for Mrs. Hunter have complained that she should never have been charged as the issue rests with the National Security Ministry. Now, State Minister in the Ministry, Pernell Charles Jr., told our news center that action will be taken to correct the problem.
The matter is before the court, so the intricacies would have to be addressed by the commissioner. But I am awaiting a fulsome and comprehensive report, and subsequent the ministry will determine what are the most appropriate steps to be taken. Once I receive a fulsome report and we're able to examine all of the variables, the ministry will take whatever steps are necessary to be taken to address the issues. Of course, that has to be taken into context once we understand what has to be done and what has already been done. That is going to have to be received by me from the commissioner and all other relevant parties related to that institution. So I await that information before I can give you any accurate directive as to what we're going to be doing.
The National Water Commission, NWC, has launched a major drive to collect hundreds of millions of dollars owed by delinquent customers. The utility company is threatening to intensify the legal action it has taken against persons who fail to make payments on time or those who have excessive arrears. NWC's Corporate Public Relations Manager Charles Buchanan confirmed with TVJ News last night the plans being made to bring persons to court to face sanctions. Over the past couple of months, the NWC has aggressively stepped up its revenue recovery efforts in a bid to collect monies owing to the entity. These initiatives include taking several persons to court for arrears totaling over $1.3 million. Mr. Buchanan said that similar action will become necessary in the new year because the revenue is needed by the Commission to enable it to provide water to paying customers. He warned that action will be taken against persons in all parishes.
Because if we are to be viable and provide the quality of service that our paying customers deserve and demand, we're going to have to ensure that persons who are not paying are not benefiting from our service or in other ways depleting the system of water that is needed for our paying customers.
He also outlined other types of customers on the NWC's radar.
Persons who are having under-registering meters or persons without meters, all of those issues are part of the focus we will have in dealing with non-revenue water going forward.
Mr. Buchanan is urging delinquent NWC customers to make arrangements to settle outstanding balances before action is taken against them. A new pension scheme is to be established in the 2018-2019 financial year. That's according to the president of the Union of Clerical, Administrative and Supervisory Employees, Vincent Morrison. According to Mr. Morrison, the current scheme is not really a pension scheme, as it's not a contributory scheme where the employers and employees make a contribution.
Paid out to the consolidated fund. And therefore, the whole administrator, Administrator General, they are responsible for the payment. Now, it was good news to have heard Wayne Jones, the Deputy Financial Secretary, mentioning that the objective now is to ensure that the pensioner gets his or her pension 1 month after, the person retires.
Mr. Morrison suggests that a well-structured pension scheme is a critical component for Jamaica's development. He believes that with a proper scheme in place, the future of more Jamaicans after retirement will be secured.
For pension, for the nation, there will be no proper social protection. And you know what that means? Is that you can't rely on your children, right? Or your child, right? You have to have something there so that when you reach the autumn of your life, you'll be able to pay the bills, etc., etc. And that is not happening.
He says too often people lose their pension benefits after resigning from a job, which he believes is unfair. Mr. Morrison says he'll be pushing to have that policy changed. As it is now, less than 30% of Jamaica's working population is part of a pension scheme.
So we have a problem. For example, if you take the security guards, there's no pension scheme. There are 25,000 workers in that industry.
There's no pension scheme because of who they work for, or?
Because of who they work for, and because of what I would describe as the contract under which they worked. Because they are saying they're independent contractors when they are not.
Mr. Morrison was speaking on TVJ's Smile Jamaica this morning. There are more concerns about poor road conditions across the country and how it's affecting citizens. The people of New Forest, Manchester, say the roads in their area have not been fixed for decades and are calling for help. TVJ's Kelisha Williams reports.
There have been numerous protests over poor road conditions in the country since the start of 2017. That issue is now affecting the people of New Forest in Manchester, who claim the poor road surface is affecting their livelihood. These burnt tires showed the aftermath of a protest in the community Wednesday morning. Residents adamant to get the relevant authorities to notice their plight.
Anytime rainfall or the water there, nobody can walk there. Up here see the guys everything. And you can see it's a big farming area. See, and we need the road And that years now, they money grant for them if fix the road, they don't do it. Dust, they don't give nobody nothing. So, something have to be done.
The road in a bad condition, loose dust, everything. When the rain falls, them can walk across through the big truck, them drive the water over the well. Mash up the road, the people have no way to walk.
Also, we are concerned about the safety of our children because our children use this road, especially when school is on, right? They will have the National Irrigation Commission pumping station that supply farmers with water, right? And when trucks come here for the water, they do not take their time and traverse the road. They are always speeding.
But one business owner, Eston Powell, said the dust emanating from the road is the biggest problem.
Every item's on the shelf covered with dust. So what I say now, we don't really need the pothole to fix. We need the whole road to do over to eliminate the dust.
Meanwhile, Communications and Customer Services Manager at the National Works Agency, Stephen Shaw, says the road which residents are complaining about does not fall under the NWA. He pointed out that the Manchester Municipal Corporation is responsible for the dirt road in the community. Efforts to get a comment from the corporation were unsuccessful. Kalisha Williams, TVJ News.
And it's time for sports. They've been nestled at the foot of the table for weeks, but Boys Town will be hoping that last week's victory over FC Reno in the Red Star Premier League is the start of a resurgence. Simon Preston has more.
It has been a fighting season for Boys Town. They have heard the word relegation all too often, but they are willing to prove doubters wrong. Before their 2-1 victory over Reno last week, there were only one win in 16 previous outings with 7 measly points. Up next, they take on the unbeaten Arnett Gardens at Barbican.
Not a tough game. We play, one of the leaders. It's a Trenchtown derby, even though it's going to be played at Barbican, but it's a good game to go anywhere to say.
The Arnett Gardens clash is a neighborhood derby being played miles away from home. That's because of Boys Town's problems at home with facilities. Some even say they should share ground with Arnett. That's something which hasn't been written off by Boys Town coach Andrew Price.
It's a thought process. We have to look at the fixtures. If it is possible, then we'll try it. I mean, both clubs, I think, will benefit if we can play double headers there. It's something that we have to sit down and discuss and look at the fixtures. But right now, Barbican is our home, and we're going to have to continue to use it until the alternatives are in place.
The Westmoreland-based teams Reno and Sandal South Coast both shared form over the last 5 matches. The two have the worst record of the season, 2 defeats and 3 drawn games. That's a problem Reno's coach Michael Graham says is a result of faulty finishing.
All season that is one of the problems that's been plaguing us. We keep creating chances, not scoring. Craig Foster, as usual, he give us his best and give us his goal. But we're not containing people, we're not containing teams when they come to play us. We lose control of the game. We turn over the ball too many times in the park. And in a first league in your country, if you turn over a ball so regular, you go pick it up in the back of your net.
Reno will play away to Tivoli Gardens, while Sandal South Coast host Humble Lion. Elsewhere, Portmore United will be at home to Uwe, while Montego United take on Cavalier at Westpow Park. And on Friday, Waterhouse will host Harbour View at Drewsland. Reporting for TVJ Sports, I'm Simon Preston.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Vashon Brown. Don't forget to join us at 7 for Primetime News Package. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, have a good afternoon.